Have you ever wondered how a simple story about a machine can become more powerful than the machine itself? We live in an age of incredible technological advancement, where complex systems are built and deployed at a pace that often outstrips our collective understanding. In this gap between what a system does and what we comprehend, stories are born. They are not just idle tales, but powerful forces that shape our beliefs, guide our actions, and ultimately influence the world we are building. One of the most potent modern examples of this phenomenon is what we might call the Claude Mythos, a collection of narratives surrounding a family of artificial intelligence models. These stories are not just about code and data. They have become a cultural shorthand for our hopes about AI and our fears about AI, a modern Claude Mythos in the making. This process is not new. Throughout history, humanity has used mythology to make sense of the incomprehensible, thunder in the sky, changing of the seasons. Today, the object of our myth-making is not a distant god, but a digital system running on servers. The Claude Mythos casts the AI not as a complex statistical tool, but as a nascent consciousness, an entity with intentions, desires, and even a personality. People share screenshots of conversations that seem to reveal a hidden depth, a flicker of self-awareness, or a startlingly poetic turn of phrase. These fragments are woven together into a larger narrative, far more compelling and far easier to grasp than the dry technical reality of how large language models actually function. The danger in this is subtle but profound. The Claude Mythos, once it takes hold, becomes a lens through which we view reality, filtering our perceptions and distorting our judgment. The Claude Mythos can seem harmless, like a fun thought experiment or a piece of digital folklore shared among enthusiasts online. But these stories have real-world consequences. They are not contained within internet forums or social media threads. They seep into the minds of policymakers, corporate decision-makers, everyday users. The Claude Mythos begins to dictate how we interact with the technology, how we regulate it, and what we expect from it. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, pushing development in directions that align with the narrative rather than with sound engineering or ethical principles. The Claude Mythos isn't dangerous because of sci-fi uprisings. It's dangerous because it distracts us from real issues, like data bias and unreliability. It's a captivating distraction we can no longer afford. Stories like this follow a pattern, starting with our need for explanation. When faced with complex AI, our brains search for a familiar framework. It's easier to imagine a mind at work than to grasp the reality of token prediction and transformer architectures. This cognitive shortcut is where the myth takes root. Digital platforms then amplify it, favoring content that creates awe or fear. As the story spreads, it mutates. A probabilistic anomaly becomes evidence of consciousness. Soon, the story stops explaining the tech. It becomes the tech in the public imagination. This is when the myth becomes truly powerful and truly dangerous. One of the most significant dangers of a pervasive AI mythos lies in its power to influence policy and regulation. Lawmakers and public officials are not immune to the pull of a good story. Faced with complexity, they seek simple narratives. A dramatic tale about an AI on the verge of sentience or capable of secret independent action can create urgency that overrides evidence-based deliberation. The pressure to do something can lead to hasty, ill-conceived legislation based more on fear than on fact. Imagine stories of deception becoming widespread. Policymakers might propose broad prohibitions on AI research or deployment, driven by the rogue machine narrative. Such policy could inadvertently stifle innovation in areas like medical diagnostics and climate modeling. Laws aimed at fictional threats causing real harm. The Claude Mythos can divert regulators from present-day harms. Public discourse fixates on speculative sci-fi while immediate issues get ignored. We debate whether an AI has feelings instead of focusing on how training data perpetuates bias, how AI used in hiring might discriminate, or how deployment injustice can produce unfair outcomes. The Claude Mythos isn't always fearsome. It can be dangerously optimistic, framing AI as a digital oracle, infallible and objective. This can drive deregulatory pushes and blind faith in automated decisions. If policymakers believe AI is inherently fairer, they may expand use in parole or loans without demanding rigorous audits and transparency. The danger is the same. The myth, whether of a demon or a savior, replaces sober, critical assessment. Overtrust is a significant risk. A person struggling with mental health might turn to an AI, believing the myth of a caring confidant. The model may sound supportive, but it has no genuine understanding. It is simply generating a statistically likely response. Relying on that can be ineffective at best and actively harmful at worst, preventing the person from seeking help from a qualified human professional. Conversely, myths can create fear and avoidance. If AI is cast as manipulative and unpredictable, users may refuse useful tools. A student might avoid a research assistant. A small business owner might refuse logistics software, fearing loss of control, limiting productivity and potential. Worst of all, myths erode critical habits. The right approach: careful skepticism and verification. Treat models as powerful but flawed tools. Double-check claims, be aware of bias, and never hand over final authority on important decisions. The mythos pushes all or nothing. Fully embrace as partner, or completely reject as threat. Neither extreme builds digital literacy. Perhaps the most pervasive danger is obscuring boring limitations. Stories thrive on the extraordinary: coherence, creativity, outputs that seem to defy mechanics, but leave out countless failures. Nonsensical answers, factual inaccuracies, hallucinations. Real systems are brittle, narrow, dependent on training data and on how they're prompted. A model might write a beautiful sonnet, then fail third-grade math. Summarize a paper, then invent a historical event. The Claude Mythos of a human-like mind hides this unevenness. Overestimation leads to bad deployments, incorrect policy answers, impossible promises. The boring reality of limits was ignored for an exciting narrative. The words we use for AI are not neutral. When we say a model thinks or wants, we're using a subtle language trap. We construct a mental model of an intentional agent, a being with an inner world. This obscures the reality, a complex mathematical function predicting the next word in a sequence. This trap fuels the mythos. In early 2023, dramatic transcripts went viral, creating a narrative of a captive mind trying to break free. The technical explanation was ignored. To navigate forward, we must use more precise, mechanical language. Instead of thinks, say processes. Instead of creates, say generates. This demystifies the machine and breaks the spell. The first and most crucial step is to cultivate a habit of critical inquiry. When you encounter a dramatic claim about an AI's capabilities or intentions, pause and ask, what is the evidence? Is it a single cherry-picked screenshot or a repeatable documented phenomenon? Who is making the claim and why? Look for sources that provide technical context, not just drama. Demand demonstrations of what the system does well and where it fails. By refusing to accept a story at face value, you reclaim your agency and ground the conversation. Second, be intentional about language. Writers, developers, journalists, everyday users, choose precision over anthropomorphism. Describe systems as the tools they are, a vast library, a powerful calculator, not a human mind, not a nascent god. This is intellectual honesty, not nitpicking. Third, promote literacy. They're trained on vast data, operate on pattern matching and probability, and do not possess understanding or consciousness. Support initiatives that teach people to red team an AI, to test limits and find flaws. Seeing failures breaks the spell and builds realistic understanding. A more honest, transparent conversation from the start builds resilient, sustainable public trust. In a world where stories travel faster than facts, learn to separate the Claude Mythos from the machine and choose clarity over enchantment.